What's going on, everybody? A Delicious Mango back again with another YouTube video, and this is the one, guys. I'm finally putting it out, my Season 7 Legend tier list for Apex Legends, Season 7 Ascension. New character Horizon in the game. I didn't want to just put out a Season 7 tier list, in the first day or the first week when the season came out and say Horizon's the best legend in the game, because no one had figured out how to counter her yet. But now after 3 weeks, I think I've got enough playtime with each legend, all the legends that got changes, got enough playtime with Horizon to really give you an honest assessment of how good these characters are and how much they're going to help you win a game. Basically, this tier list is predicated on which legends are most likely to help you win the game. This isn't a legend tier list for pub stomping, the most aggressive legends. This isn't a legend tier list for exclusively competitive, but this is which legends give me the best chance to win the game and why. So I'll go through all 5 tiers that I have, S through D, S being the best and D being the worst. Inside these tiers, it's not exactly ordered, but I will have some clarifications on which legends I think are better than others in that same tier. But without further ado, let's get started with the D tier. Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. How come you're not subscribed yet? You see that red button down there? The one with subscribe should be underneath the video. Go ahead and click that for me. It's free, and I guarantee it'll bring you marginal amounts of happiness, slightly more than you had right before. Go ahead, try it. Anyway, back to the tier list. Down here in D tier, I have what I think are the 3 worst legends in the game, which are Octane, Rampart, and Mirage. Now, unfortunately, Mirage and Octane are really fun, and the minigun turret that Rampart can put on her ultimate can also be really fun, but they all have serious flaws holding them back. For example, Octane's jump pad, which is his ultimate, is basically overshadowed by Horizon's tactical, and she gets her tactical 4 times faster than Octane gets his ultimate back. So really, it's very overshadowed by Horizon's tactical ability, and if you want that kind of ability, why not just use Horizon instead? Rampart, she's a good defender. Her walls are actually very strong. I do think her walls are great, but her passive and her ultimate leave a lot to be desired. Her ultimate, Sheila, just doesn't kill people that well. You would think for a minigun it'd be pretty easy to kill people, but it's really in very specific circumstances that the minigun can really get something done. It can't rotate very far and it leaves you very exposed. Her passive just makes light machine guns as good as most of the other guns in the game. You could run a Spitfire with Rampart, but why not just run a Flatline or a Hemlock and then still have a different passive on a different legend? The Spitfire just isn't that great of a gun, and even with Rampart's ability to give it more bullets and for it to reload faster, it's just not that valuable of a passive. Mirage is a sad case because he keeps getting buffs, and at first the buffs turn out great, and it really works on a lot of people, but after a few weeks, everyone starts to figure out Mirage's tricks again, no pun intended there, and he kind of falls back down to the pack. Now, his invisible res is nice, his invisible revive when he's on respawn beacons is nice, his ultimate is pretty strong, he gets it very frequently, and being able to control his decoys is pretty good, but if he does get shot and he doesn't have his ultimate to rely on, or even if he does and the opponent is pretty smart and knows which one is the right one, he's pretty stuck out there in the open, and he doesn't really play defense that well. He's just a gimmick. Now, he's a very fun gimmick. As you guys know, I have over 1,000 kills with Mirage, and I think he's very fun. But as far as just winning the game, there are a lot better choices out there than Mirage. Now, up next in C tier, ironically, these 2 legends are being paired together in C tier. This is Revenant and Loba. Now, Loba did get some buffs. Now her passive extends to a lot larger radius, so she can see good loot through the walls and inside bins and things like that. And coupled with that, her ultimate now has a much larger radius. But the bigger buff is that ammo does not take up a slot in the black market boutique anymore. So essentially, you can grab 2 items and then still grab as much ammo as you want afterwards. So this is pretty nice. No longer do you have to decide, oh, do I want ammo or do I want heals? Now you can have both. And this is pretty nice. Loba is a great character for beginners. I think she's maybe one of the best characters in the game for beginners, but she still doesn't help you very much in a fight. Her tactical is not very good for relocating because it's very easy to see where she's going. She can't run while she throws her tactical. Once she lands, she has this long animation, so she can't really fight right after she lands. It's just kind of inhibiting, and it's unfortunate because a lot of people, including myself, really like Loba, and I think that she's just a tactical buff away, maybe a new passive away too. Let's be honest, her passive isn't that great. She's just a little buff away from being maybe even an A tier legend, but for now she's stuck in C tier, along with Revenant. Now, Revenant's ultimate is very frustrating. When you see a team running at you, it can be very difficult to deal with, but At the end of the day, Revenant is just kind of a press totem, go attack people, see how much damage you can get, and then go attack again. His silence is pretty decent. 20 seconds is kind of a long time for some characters like Wraith and Pathfinder. His passive is basically a non-factor. This faster crouch walking, the taller climbs is basically nothing because it takes you a really long time to climb any extra height compared to a normal legend, so I don't think his passive is very useful. But for now, Revenant, along with Loba, remains a C tier legend. Up next, we have the B tier. Now, this tier consists of 3 legends that I think do have some very useful things, and this is where you start to see kind of separation from the people that I would really suggest taking into ranked and maybe even competitive versus the legends that just aren't that good. And in B tier, we have Crypto, Bangalore, and Lifeline. Now, we'll start with Lifeline. Lifeline, I have her in B tier, and some would say she needs to be higher, including my good buddy Tim, who is a Lifeline main. My only issue with Lifeline is that her passive is outstanding. Her passive is really frustrating. If you're fighting someone and they have a Lifeline and they just keep picking up their teammates, their down teammates, it can be unbelievably frustrating to deal with. The only bad part about it is that Lifeline's passive, which is her best ability, is really only useful after your team is already losing the fight, after you've already got someone downed. And usually you don't want to have someone downed ever. And so just her abilities don't really lend themselves to fighting strength necessarily. Is very good for support. Her ultimate can bring some better heals. You can actually get more heals now than you used to. And you can get a purple shield, which is also nice, but again, you're not really using that care package late game. And her heal drone, it's good for health. It's good for, again, helping someone that's already taken a lot of damage, but all of her abilities kind of lend yourself to, you need to already be losing the fight for her to be very, very useful. I think Bangalore is all around probably the most solid, steady legend in the game. She rarely gets touched. Her double time passive is incredible. It's one of my favorite passives in the game. As you get shot or shot at, you get a, I think, 30 or 40% movement speed boost, which is actually very, very fast. Their smoke launchers, they're high velocity, so they travel to their target really quickly if you're trying to smoke at someone or smoke yourself to get away. Her smoke is actually very, very useful. It can mess up your teammates some, but that's part of having smoke. You know, you're cluttering everyone's vision, not just their enemies. And her ultimate, I actually think her ultimate is a lot stronger than it used to be. Now it's 6 seconds from when the bomb lands to when they blow up. It used to be 8 seconds, and it has caught me off guard a few times. The Bangalore ultimate does blow up much faster than you think it will. I think that Bangalore is in a pretty decent spot. I don't know what they'll really do to improve her. Maybe give her ultimate faster or have the bombs blow up even sooner, but Bangalore's in a pretty good spot. She's a good legend, and if you're a good player, you'll do well with Bangalore. And finally, we have Crypto. This is the lowest tier legend that is actually getting some play in the competitive scene, and Crypto for me is at the top of B tier. His drone is pretty strong when it comes to EMPing people. The only issue is you really have to have a coordinated team. Crypto is not a great solo queue legend. You have to be able to EMP right as you're going to fight somebody so you can really take advantage of all the shield damage that you're doing to people. His drone scanning people is obviously very nice, but you do have to sit still and pilot it, which isn't very convenient. And his drone does have more health now, which is very convenient for not getting shot down. It used to only have 1 health, so that was a real pain in the butt if you were a Crypto main. But now, Crypto's drone has a little bit more health, so it takes a little bit more damage, but it's still relatively fragile with 60 health. Crypto is almost an A tier legend, but I just don't think he's as good as the legends we're about to name now. So, without further ado, let's get into the top 2 tiers of the tier list, starting with the A tier. And in A tier, we have Pathfinder, Wattson, Horizon, and Caustic. Now let's start with Caustic. Caustic is probably one of the most frustrating characters to deal with still. He always has been since he got in the game. He can bunker up and he can take your bunker. He's great inside buildings. I thought about putting him in B tier, but he is pretty useful in competitive settings still. There's no better legend to breach and clear a building than a Caustic. As long as there's no Wattson in there to get rid of your traps, that gas grenade is absolutely deadly, especially with the buffed gas damage. Now, it doesn't blur anyone's vision, which is good for your teammates, but it does twice as much damage. It's actually, I think, a very good change. I think Respawn did a great thing with this. But Caustic is still a big hitbox. He has fortified, but it's still, not as good as Gibby, because Gibby's got the old gun shield to help him out. But he's a big hitbox. His gas does a lot of damage now. I think Caustic's in a pretty good spot in this game, and I wouldn't see the need to touch him moving forward. After Caustic, we have Horizon, who I think might be the most fun character to play with in the game. Her tactical, being able to push yourself up in the air, combined with her passive, which is no landing lag at all, it is very, very fun. She feels almost floaty, which I guess is the way they were trying to make her feel, with the way she can glide along the ground, glide in the air with her tactical, and combining her ultimate with grenades, because your ultimate, you throw it down, it sucks people in. At the very beginning of the ultimate kind of burst, all the enemies inside the radius get sucked to that black hole immediately, and then they can fight their way out. If you combine that with some arc stars or some frag grenades, it is a deadly combination. There are some players that are really out there doing a great job with Horizon's ultimate and comparing it and combining it with grenades, and I think that Horizon is actually very, very strong. I think you might see her in the competitive scene fairly soon. There are some people already testing her out, but Horizon, as far as an offensive legend, very, very strong. Wattson's up next in A tier, and Wattson used to be an S tier must pick. If you wanted to win the game, you gotta pick Wattson character, and now it's just not the same. In Season 2, right when Wattson came out, she was able to put down 3 interception pylons, which is her ultimate. They charged your shield, and they lasted forever. They are pretty durable, and they could survive a Crypto EMP in Season 3 when Crypto came out. Now in Season 7, you can still put down 3 ultimates, but they can be broken with 1 Crypto Drone EMP. They're relatively fragile now compared to what they used to be for gunshots, and they only last 90 seconds. So you have 90 seconds of ultimate time, then 90 seconds with no ultimate. One of the best parts of her ultimate was using it for shield healing. You didn't have to burn shield cells. You could stay in your area, or you could just loot up while the shield healing is done for you by the ultimate. Now it's not done for you quite as much. You're not going to be able to conserve as many shield cells. It's much more fragile, so it's probably going to break when someone shoots it anyway. I think that no one's really scared of Wattson fences, and the ultimate does charge her tactical, which is putting down more fences, but no one's really scared of it. I mean, yes, it does 15 damage now, which is a nice buff, but no one's really running into them. They're very easy to break. Maybe they need some more health damage on the pylon. You got to shoot it a few more times. Maybe they need to... I've seen some interesting things on Reddit where like you can put them on ceilings or other hard to reach places. No one's really sure exactly how to do it, but Wattson is just good in competitive. She's not great in public lobbies. You probably would never pick her in a public lobby. She's just really good for winning a game at the highest level, and for everyone else, she's just not that enticing to play, which is why I haven't been playing Wattson myself for the last season and a half or so. Finally, we have Pathfinder, still the king of mobility, even more so than Horizon. The grapple is just really strong now, with the grapple being tied to how far you went, and it's much more forgiving than its first iteration. The grapple is in a very strong place. The zipline, of course, helps your team. When you scan beacons, which is now no longer just a Pathfinder ability, Pathfinder gets his ziplines right away. And so that's good, that's useful. That passive isn't as useful as it used to be, just because Bloodhound and Crypto can scan beacons as well, but Pathfinder's still very strong. There is no substitute for mobility in this game. If you're a mobile legend, you're going to be a better legend than just other characters that don't have any mobility. That's just the way that is. Pathfinder can grab high ground from you. He can get your whole team to high ground. He is very, very useful, much like Horizon, and that's why I have him in A tier. And finally, we have S tier, the big guns, the baddest 3 legends of all. This is the team that I think is the best team in Apex Legends right now, and that is Wraith, Gibraltar, and Bloodhound. Wraith is no surprise to be in S tier. She was in my previous video. She's in everyone's S tier all the time. She's very small. She can get out of jail free with her tactical. Her ultimate transports your team through a portal to safety, completely safe. You can't be shot while you're inside that portal. She can use her portal and then use her Into the Void tactical to avoid taking damage while she sets the portal. She's small and hard to hit. She's fast. She is just a very, very strong character. Her kit lends itself to being great. So much so, in fact, that they don't want to nerf her kit any more than they already have for the last 7 seasons. They're trying to figure out how to make her hitbox a little bit bigger, try and give Wraith a little more cheeseburgers to eat so she gets a little bit thicker, so it's easier to shoot her, because right now it's just hard to shoot her. And then on the exact opposite spectrum of that, Gibraltar is so good because he is so tanky. You have that 50 health gun shield that doesn't take any bleed through damage, so you can shoot that gun shield with a Kraber bullet. Fine with Gibraltar, he's not taking any damage till you start hitting his body. When you do hit his body, while it is enormous, he has 15% reduced damage because of the fortified passive ability given to him and Caustic. This guy is a tank. You can shoot a full R301 clip with the purple mag and everything. Not miss a single bullet on Gibraltar. If you shoot through his gun shield and then you shoot him in the chest, you might not kill him. That is unbelievable. He is an absolute powerhouse. He is a titan. He can lock down some gunfights just with his gun shield. He's the scariest person, in my opinion, to have a 1v1 fight against with a Mastiff, because you know you got to burn at least one Mastiff shot going through his gun shield. And then finally, his dome is just absolutely wonderful. His dome heals you up faster. He can revive you faster inside the dome. He can give you cover anywhere on the map. Gibraltar is in a very, very strong spot. The last legend we have in the S tier and the last legend in our tier list is Bloodhound. I think Bloodhound right now just barely edges out Pathfinder as the best recon legend. His tactical, which is his scan, lets you know where everyone is. I mean, giving your whole teammate wall hacks for a few seconds is just, it gives you an unbelievable information. It helps your team. You know where to fight. You know where the enemies are. You can tell if there's just one enemy, two enemies, three enemies. You can tell if it's a solo or a full team. You can tell if there's 10 teams around you. That information is unbelievably useful, and you can use it pushing at people, and you can use it if you're needing to run away. And his ultimate ability, I mean, there's nothing just more beast mode than his beast mode ultimate ability, giving you 40% movement speed. His tactical every 8 seconds. If the scan lasts 4 seconds and he gets it every 8 seconds, you're guessing it right. You and your teammate are getting to see everyone through walls 50% of the time of this 35-second ultimate. And if you knock someone, you're getting even more time on that ultimate. Bloodhound is just truly a beast when in ultimate mode, and that's why Bloodhound, along with Gibraltar and Wraith, are S tier for Season 7. But guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Where is your main? My main is in C tier with Loba. One of my mains is in A tier with Wattson. I'm really having fun with Pathfinder and Horizon as well, and then I play a lot of Wraith who's in S tier, so I'm very spread out. Let me know what you guys are. Who are your favorite characters to play? Did I get something wrong? Tell me down in the comments down below. If you liked the video, guys, please do like the video, and do consider subscribing if you're not subscribed already. That would help me out a ton. If you want to watch me get these gameplays that you're seeing in the background, you can watch me get them live over on Twitch. The link is in the top of the description. You can click that button right there, and it'll take you over to my Twitch account. We stream live every single morning. Guys, thank you so much for watching. You guys are the absolute best, and I'll catch you on the next video. Later, skaters.